All gas, no brake.
And now we have liftoff. Welcome into the Now We Have Liftoff New York Jets podcast. And for the first time in Now We Have Liftoff New York Jets podcast history, I am your host, John June, coming to you live from YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. And of course, got my guy, Frank Jim Piccolo. Frank, how are we feeling, man?
Oh, it's a happy victory Monday, bro. I'm excited. Like, this is the biggest win the Jets probably had since like 2015 when we beat the Pats.
100%, bro. 100%. Since 2015, I mean, that was last competitive year of Jets football that we saw. And so this game yesterday, I mean, it had a lot. And obviously, we're going to break it all down as we always do. Not on a Tuesday, though. We usually do it on Tuesday. This show is being taped on Monday or being recorded on Monday. And so, we've got some travel arrangements ahead of us, or ahead of myself. And so I won't be here. And so, Frank, we decided to do this on a Monday and talk about this Jets win. We're going to talk about their next game as well, but we could talk about that later. I want to talk about this win, Frank. And so the New York Jets have a thrilling win over the previously 2-1 Tennessee Titans. The Jets were 0-3, obviously. They end up winning 27-24 in overtime. Just a phenomenal effort by this team. Fighting back from adversity. Zach Wilson, it was up and down performance from him. 21-34, 297 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. The one interception, not even really his fault. Corey Davis slips on the route there. But he showed grit. He showed a willingness to fight, and he showed that playmaking ability that we knew he had. We knew he possessed, and we were just kind of waiting to really see, come to fruition and really be out there on the field. Frank, what were your overall, impressions of Zach Wilson and how he played in this game?
Kind of what you just said, right? Up and down. I thought at spurts he played really well. That pass to Keelan Cole where he fumbled the snap and still had the awareness to pick it up and throw a dart down the field was really impressive. I think most quarterbacks, rookie and veterans, would have probably just jumped on the ball, not wanting something bad to happen, but he knew that the ball was right in front of him and he picked it up and made a good play. Everyone looks at that play where he got flushed out to his right and threw that 50-yard bomb to Corey Davis. He looked more poised in the second half and later in the first half. Like the game slowed down for him a little bit, and kind of had a feeling that was going to happen. Tennessee is a good defense, not as good as the last couple of defenses that we played, but Tennessee really does well against quarterbacks that kind of just sit in the pocket, and that's not Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, Zach Wilson definitely, made his money on those off-schedule plays. And again, that's what the Jets said when they drafted him, that they saw his playmaking ability, his ability to make plays outside of structure, and they felt that he was, someone that could come in here and help uplift this team. And at times, this team had to uplift him. And one part of that was the offensive line. I mean, I think overall they played much better yesterday. They only allowed one sack to Zach Wilson there. So, one sack of Zach Wilson. So, they definitely played better. There wasn't as much pressure as we've seen in recent weeks on Zach Wilson, which was nice to see for sure. And to see him move a little bit. He had that one play. I mean, like you said, there were a couple plays where he just didn't play he made some boneheaded mistakes. Let's just put it plain and simple, right? The play near the on the end of the game in overtime, right? When you're potentially getting in a position to score a touchdown, and the Jets are aggressive with the play call. Mike LaFleur calls an aggressive play call, getting the naked boot there with Zach Wilson, one-man route, and Zach Wilson tries to play hero and try to run in the game-winning touchdown when it's like, hey man, just dump that ball away. Robert Saleh said they were going to go for it on the next play, so live to play another down. You'd rather be at the 1 yard line. Instead, he's tackled for a 2 yard loss, 3 yard loss, and the Jets are now kicking a field goal. So, definitely want to see some improvement there. But the offensive line absolutely played much better. Frank, what were your thoughts of the offensive line yesterday?
Well, the offensive line played by and far their best game of the year. According to Next Gen Stats, there was one sack, one quarterback hit, and 6 pressures in 35 dropbacks yesterday. So I thought that was good. I think Wilson had to do a lot with that, right? Because you saw a lot of times like he had that like patented spin move, like we see Baker do on occasion, and it seemed like every time that there was a rush coming, he would do that naked spin and just make magic happen. It was almost like Johnny Manziel, like when he played college. But that's the stuff we saw at BYU from him, like when he's rolling out and waving Corey Davis to go long. I would like to see more from in the pocket, but the more I think about it, I don't think he's going to be that quarterback. I think this is the game yesterday is what he's going to be like. I think we're going to have a lot of Brett Favre-ish type moments and games where he's going to drive us crazy, where he's going to have 3 interception games, 4 interception games, and then the next week he's going to throw for 450 yards and 4 TDs. I think we're just going to have to live with that. And you know what? He's probably the most talented quarterback we've had since Joe Namath. And if that's what we have to live with, then rather than the dink and dunk and the type of quarterback play that the Jets have had since Joe Namath, that's what we're going to have to do. And I don't want to hear us fans BSing about it, when he does have a bad game or an off game.
Look, I will live with the 2-3 interception games now, but when he gets to year 2, year 3, I want that stuff to stop, man. Because you could take risk and you could be aggressive. Like Patrick Mahomes is one of the most aggressive quarterbacks in the league, but he has one of the lowest interception rates in the league. Aaron Rodgers prides himself on not turning the ball over, right? So like at one point you have to. I'll live with those plays now as a rookie if you're giving me the high upside plays like he did yesterday, right? But if you're giving me, if you're dinking and dunking or, things like that, and you're just throwing interceptions, then that's the stuff that's like, anybody could do that. But
yeah, but how did Packer fans
some improvement?
How did Packer fans feel about Favre? Because that was Favre.
But we're not talking about Favre. That game was played so long ago. Favre played. I was thinking about this morning. Favre didn't break records because he was more talented than everybody. Favre broke all these records because he played longer than everybody, right? And so, what Patrick Mahomes is doing is phenomenal. What Aaron Rodgers is doing is phenomenal. And that stuff, that puts you in position to win a game every week, and turning the ball over is going to be one of the biggest detriments to winning football in the NFL. And NFL defenses, they pride themselves on that, turning the ball over. And we got to stop putting this defense, right? This defense in bad positions, man, because this defense has been balling. I mean, we've been talking about it. Almost sounds like a broken record right now. For 3 weeks, we've been talking about this defense and the wasted efforts that they have put out. But this defense was absolutely balling yesterday. I don't want to hear anything about, there was no A.J. Brown, there was no Julio Jones. Well, the Jets lost Marcus May in the middle of the week, and that's their best secondary player. Maybe outside. I mean, Bryce Hall's making a really good run at that spot. But either way, Marcus May is a key integral part to this defense, and so you can't tell me that make all these excuses, because the same people that were making all these excuses were the same people saying, oh, well, the Titans are going to go in there with their backups and beat the Jets. Like, it doesn't matter who they have out there. So at the end of the day, I'm still excited about this defense that had 7 sacks. John Franklin Myers was a madman. Quincy Williams, who I know you were really high on his performance yesterday. I mean, there were a couple of times I wish he would just look up and try to snag that ball, try to turn it over. But hey, I'll take the monster hit every now and then. But especially the way he was playing, Quincy or CJ Mosley, that's another one. I mean, I think he's back. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say, like what you had said, that he's going to make it back to this, to this top 3 inside linebacker.
Top 3, yeah. Like when you go around the league, bro, and you talk about inside linebackers, you have to put him right there. Like there's a handful, maybe a little more than a handful of top tier inside linebackers in the league right now, and I think you have to. If you're not saying CJ Mosley is one of them, then there's something wrong with you, because the way he's playing, the way he's commanding that defense, putting everybody in the right spots, he's bringing Quincy Williams along, who was a great pickup for Joe Douglas after he got cut by Jacksonville, teaming him up with his brother. Just the way Quincy played football yesterday, like. The mantra "all gas, no break" fit him to a T yesterday. He was just like, for a man his size to pop Derrick Henry like he did a couple times was astounding to me, man.
No, definitely, man. Definitely him. Back to CJ Mosley, 13 tackles yesterday, 10 solos. Quincy had 12 along with 10 solos. Also added a sack for Quincy Williams. But like you were saying before, CJ Mosley, he's just like the air traffic control back there, directing everybody. He's telling the D-line where to go. He's turning around, telling the slot corners and the safeties, hey, you go over here. This is what we're going to do. Checking in and out of plays, playing chess with Ryan Tannehill. I mean, it's even CJ Mosley had a one-on-one stick with Derrick Henry, which was like, good to see, man. And this defensive line, I mean, Mike Vrabel, head coach for the Tennessee Titans, talked about it prior to the start of the game, like earlier in the week. And I sent it to you, and you're like, yo, what is Vrabel talking about when he said that, the key to winning this game, or that, the Jets D line was basically stopping them was going to be the key to winning that game against the Jets.
It was going to be a tall task, I think, is what he said.
Something along those lines, right? And they were. I mean, Quentin Williams showed up we've been crying about it I know I've been crying about it for weeks now. Like, where's Quentin? Where's Quentin? Gets another 2 sacks in this game. So, him and John Franklin Myers was just a madman. I mean, if this guy does not make it back in a Jets uniform next year, like, we riot. There's no other.
I'm riding. I'm upset with what happened to Vinny Curry, but we talked about it. Next man up, who's going to fill that role? And JFM has pretty much filled that big role that Vinny Curry, that other side of that Lawson would have played, because
JFM was always going to play this. I know we talked about it.
Yeah, of course, but there was going to be more of a rotation if Vinny Curry didn't come down with his illness. But I think it's JFM's right now, because I don't know about you, but I don't really see Shaq Lawson in the game more than a few reps.
Yeah, Shaq Lawson's in there. He just he doesn't really flash at all. I just see him. He played 59% of the snaps yesterday. Sheldon Rankins 61. I mean, they were all these guys. They rotate in and out, right? All these guys are getting snaps, but Bryce Huff, man, that's another guy you were like extremely high on coming into this year, and he's absolutely balling. I saw something today. He's top 10 in pass rush win rate, which is a stat covered by ESPN or tracked by ESPN. And so, he's been doing a phenomenal job there.
Yeah, it's just
Bryce,
it's disappointing, bro, because with Carl Lawson
Carl Lawson on this D line, man.
bro, it's probably the best defense in the league. Because how
Carl
many
Lawson. I mean, I think maybe we're being a little hyperbolic there.
I know I'm being hyperbolic. I know I am. But when you think about how many sacks would they have had yesterday?
No, no, definitely 7 sacks.
Like
Totally.
I don't think he changes the total outcome. Like I don't think he changes. He might have changed the Carolina game a little bit. I don't know if we win that game. Probably not. But the other two games, I still don't think he had it. 4 interceptions by Zach. You're not winning that game. And the Denver game was, just an abomination. So I don't know if he changes the overall team perspective, but he definitely makes.
This D line would be scary. This defense would be scary. He would take this defense to another level.
But which is why they need to sign JFM.
Yeah, they need to sign JFM, bring him back.
And I don't even know if they need to touch the D line besides signing JFM going into the offseason, but that's for later in the year.
Yeah. Let's move on, man. Let's move on. Unless there's anything else. Oh, yeah, no, there was something I wanted to talk about. I almost forgot. You almost let me forget. Bryce Hall. Bryce Hall, we talked about it last week. He was I do my fantasy football research, and so I was looking up defensive backs, and prior to this, this matchup here in week 4, using the week 3 stats, looking at cornerbacks with a minimum of 100 coverage snaps, but he is first in target rate per coverage snap. He was 9th in reception rate per coverage snap, and he allowed, I think it was the 5th lowest or 6th lowest. This is a fantasy football, but PPR points per snap in coverage. So basically, Bryce Hall has been not getting targeted, and when he is getting targeted, he's not allowing them to catch receptions at a high rate, and he's not allowing he's not allowing any touchdowns really, and he's not allowing any big plays really there. And so Bryce Hall, the cornerback that the New York Jets thought that they were getting back last year when they drafted him, who fell to due to some injury issues. Seems like the Jets may have gotten a steal there because he's playing at a the level that people thought that he could be at when he was first drafted.
Yeah, you heard a lot of people that said that they had a 1st or 2nd round grade on him, and he's sure playing like it. Like I didn't realize how lanky he is, and I don't mean that in a disparaging comment. More like kind of like Crow was. Like he's got that makeup speed. He's got long arms. He's just really, really long. Like he's that prototypical solid cornerback.
Yeah, man. We've been saying it for a while. He's reminiscent a little bit of Richard Sherman, just in his body length side. His body length. What he showed much better speed than I thought a player, his size would have. When you look at that play he made yesterday, trailing the defender, is able to catch up and stick his arm out there, his long arms, and make a play on the football. But he played really well. Again, the Jets starting safeties were, and Frank, tell me if you've heard these names before. Gerard Wilson, sorry. I don't even know his name. And Sherrod Niesman.
Niesman. That I know. The Sal is very high on Niesman.
Oh, so okay. Well,
but Ashton Davis got in a little bit.
Yeah, Ashton Davis did play a little bit.
He's working his way back in.
Working his way back. I think that's probably where they're at with him. It's just crazy because this defense just doesn't seem like any level of the defense could play together, right? Like we're not going to see the D line without Carl Lawson or Vinny Curry. We haven't seen the linebacking unit with, CJ Mosley, Gerard Davis, and now, Quincy Williams. And we've yet to see this secondary with Ashton Davis and Marcus May and LaMarcus Joyner all healthy. So,
Well, we're not going to because Joyner's out for the year.
exactly. So, let's move on to this next portion of our show. And as you all know, we are covering the New York Jets against the Atlanta Falcons. And this segment here is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Has a 5-week offer every football fan should jump on right now. New customers bet just $1 on any NFL game and win $100 in free bets if either team scores a point. The last 0-0 tie in the NFL was in 1943. So sounds like a no-brainer to me, Frank. Even if the Jets were playing the Jets, there probably wouldn't be a 0-0 tie. But if the scorebook isn't available in your state yet, DraftKings won't leave you empty-handed. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings daily fantasy sports contest. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars, $1 million in total prizes with their first deposit. Download this DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TPPN. Throw down $1 on any NFL game. Maybe you want to bet on the Jets and the Falcons. Maybe you're feeling hot. Maybe right after we give our assessment of this game, you might feel free to put some money on it. And then you win $100 in free bets if either team scores a point. That's promo code TPPN this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner with the NFL. Must be 21 or older, New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit and $1 wager required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. And with that being said, as I pull up this line here, forgive me, but the New York Jets take on the Atlanta Falcons in London, 9:30 a.m. Eastern kickoff there for us.
Woof.
I love that. I love what?
I don't like it.
What?
I don't like it. Just me personally.
Dude, you wake up.
I can't drink. I can't drink at 9:30 in the morning.
Well,
I guess it's 5 o'clock somewhere, right?
I mean, wait, hold on. You can drink at 9:30 in the morning, Frank, because you tailgate to Jets games.
Yeah, this is true.
And what time are you drinking then, Frank?
Before 9:30.
All right, then. So you totally can drink before 9:30, watching the Jets as they travel to London to take on the Atlanta Falcons as 3.5-point underdogs here with an over-under of 46. So there are Brandon Echols suffered a concussion injury in this one. Elijah Morris, I think Robert Saleh said he's making his way back. Obviously, we saw Jamison Crowder be very involved in the offense in week one alongside Corey Davis. So very curious to see how the Jets respond here. They are a young team who just came out of an overtime win over the Tennessee Titans, who are our playoff team from last year, from the last 2 years. So let's remember that there. So, they end up winning this game in overtime. That it was a 3-hour and 48-minute game. This game went on forever. There was 5 quarters in it, basically. And so for them to travel to London, take on an Atlanta Falcon team, which this team is very beatable. Like the Jets can 100% go in there and win this game. Even if the Jets lost this game, I would be expecting them to go in there and win this game. So with all that I laid down on the table, Frank, what are your thoughts on this matchup here with the New York Jets and the Atlanta Falcons?
So this is tough because they are traveling to London. I was listening to Sal on the Michael Kay show, and he talked about how when he was a part of the Jacksonville staff, he made the trip 3 times to London. So he's very familiar with, what gives his teams the best chance. Supposedly they're chartering airplanes that have sleepers for the players. So they're leaving right after Thursday, heading to London. The players are going to sleep on the plane. Right after they get off the plane, they're going to do their walkthrough. And supposedly, Salah said he's going to make sure that the players stay up to 10 o'clock so they could get 2 full nights of regular sleep before the game.
Wow. I like that. I like that a lot. That may help with some of this betting stuff. So hey, you want to go put $1, win $100 in free bets? Use that promo code TPPN. You know what I'm talking about. But let's see. Let's talk about this. Right, the Atlanta Falcons. They are a struggling team. They are 1-3, as are the New York Jets. But the Atlanta Falcons are a different 1-3. Right, the Atlanta Falcons were a team that everyone had high expectations for over the last 2-3 years. They haven't really met those expectations. And so now they've got a new head coach. They've got a quarterback in Matt Ryan who's getting up there in age. People are questioning whether he can play. Their offense is kind of weird because they trot Mike Davis out there and try to use him as like this 3-down back. And then they use Cordell Patterson as like this all offensive weapon, which I think is fine. They throw the ball to Calvin Ridley, but they don't throw it deep. Maybe that has to do with Matt Ryan. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it has to do with play calling. I'm not really sure. And then they have the rookie, the unicorn, in Kyle Pitts, who their usage of has been, they've been using him up and down as a primary weapon. It's been weird. Very weird with Kyle Pitts. So it makes me question like the competency of the coaching staff, which at this rate, like considering the fact that
I just want to go on record that you were very high on bringing Arthur Smith here.
I was not very high on Arthur Smith. It was Brandon Staley you're thinking of, I'm pretty sure. Arthur Smith, I was not opposed to bringing on. But the Jets were also very high on Arthur Smith.
No, they were. They were.
They said Arthur Smith was second, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that's what they said.
First. So, yeah, but Brandon Staley, that was my guy, and he's proven.
I'm mistaken then.
You were mistaken. I know. It's okay, Frank.
It happens from time to time.
It happens.
Can't get the looks and the brain.
God didn't bless you with either one, brother. I'm just messing, handsome Frank. But anyway, yeah, the usage of Kyle Pitts has been weird. So it makes me think there's a competency issue here with Arthur Smith, which then makes me think that if I have to question like competency issues, it's like the Urban Meyer effect, right? Like with Urban Meyer, like when they got in there, he started making some decisions, and I defended the Urban Meyer hire to be like from the very beginning. I was like, oh, this should be fine. Like, he probably recruited half of these kids. Like, it doesn't matter. The Jags are a young team, whatever. But then he got in, and you draft like Travis Etienne with a first-round pick when you already have James Robinson, who is an undrafted free agent. Like, that's just bad process. And then there's just like some other questionable decision-making, like the Gardner Minshew thing, where you took reps away from Trevor Lawrence to give him to Gardner Minshew because you had a quarterback competition, but then you trade Gardner Minshew for like a 6th-round pick. And then once that happened, I was like, they're going to lose to the Texans in week 1. Like, yeah.
And so you forgot they brought Tebow in to try out for tight end.
That thing too, which whatever. I also defended when they did it because this is prior to the draft. So my brain didn't start going down that rabbit hole yet. But After they did it, I was like, well, guess what we're not talking about? We're not talking about Tim Tebow, or we're not talking about Trevor Lawrence. We're talking about Tim Tebow. But either way, besides the point, that leads me to think that you're going to make poor NFL decisions as well. And I think Arthur Smith probably isn't going to do maybe the little things well here for, traveling to London, right? Making sure everything is in the appropriate manner and making sure you put your players in the best position to succeed on Sunday. And I think the Jets, while they are probably feeling high because of this win, I think there's a lot of, especially on the defensive side of the ball with CJ Mosley and Quentin Williams seems like he's really stepping into that leadership role. Bryce Hall, I've known not personally or anything, but just from like reading up on the kid, seems like the type of leader that you would want in your locker room. So, I think that these guys are not going to get too high on this win and hopefully use it as a springboard into the bye week. Because if the Jets can go into the bye week 2-3, right? I'm not making anything about playoff prognostications or anything, whatever, right? But 2-3 would make me feel really good about them getting to the 6 or 7 wins that we initially thought that they could get when the schedule came out. Like I don't care how they lost in week 2 or week 3. If they can get to 2-3 before the bye, I think that's a win. So I'm picking the Jets to cover the 3.5, and I'm taking the Jets to win the game.
Yeah, if you win by 1 point, lose by 1 point, win by 40, lose by 40, it still counts the same. And this is a young football team, and I don't think Salah's going to let this team get overconfident. And I think the team knows that they're not good enough just to walk into a stadium and strap on their helmet and shoulder pads and beat a team. So normally I'd be worried about a Jet because this is like the classic big Jet win and loss. But we've been saying it for months now that this team just feels different with Salah leading it. So I'm not worried about that.
Boy, it didn't feel different the last 2 weeks.
To you, it felt different to me. It did though, man. It just
You
did.
can't tell me that the Denver loss felt any different than 2020 to you.
It did. It did. And the only reason it did is because in 2020 they weren't in a complete teardown mode. Like we knew the teardown should be coming, but we didn't really know which way the Jets' direction were going to go. Like we both know the Jets are in phase 1 of a rebuild. They're building the foundation right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't have the disillusion that the Jets should be competing for a playoff berth right now. Like obviously every week that we're going to root and hope that they win while the game is going on. But like Mondays when we're breaking down the games, we need to come back to reality and realize this is the youngest team in the NFL with a rookie head coach, a rookie offensive coordinator, a rookie quarterback, and rookies scattered all over this roster that are playing significant time. So it's going to take a hot minute. I just want to see progress going towards the end of the season where they could build upon something in the offseason, and then next year is the year that they compete for a playoff spot.
And that's the important word, is the progress, right? Because that's what we saw this week, which we didn't see from week 2 to week 3, right? We saw, if anything, we saw regression, right? But this time we saw them actually, the first quarter still wasn't hot, right?
No.
Like, I mean,
and they couldn't and they still couldn't really rush the ball.
No, right? So, I mean, they're losing 9-0. They end up scoring 7 points before the half. The third quarter, they score another 3 points, right? So, like, it wasn't until the fourth quarter where they really came alive, right? And you really felt like, holy crap.
But you know what?
They might win this game.
But that's what you get with young teams, right? Like all it takes is a little bit of confidence because they're young. So maybe they're feeling bad, they're banging their heads against the wall, nothing's working, and all you need is that little spark. And once they get that spark, their jets are going to just take off. Pun intended.
Hey! I don't even know how we ended up back to this game.
Yeah, but
You know,
I still need to pick the game.
you still need to pick the Atlanta game, Frank. So what do you got?
I got the Jets, and I think they're going to cover.
You got the Jets to cover and win?
I got the Jets to cover and win.
All right. So who's your lock this week, Frank?
Well, let me pull it up on my trusty DraftKings app. The Patriots are 9.5-point favorites against the Texans. And I'm going to take the Pats after that tough loss that they had against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers last night.
Okay, that's fair. I myself, I'm looking to pick. Oh man.
You should just pick the Cardinals.
No, who are they playing?
San Fran.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm going to take. I wanted to take the Titans. Like I really wanted to take the Titans.
Yeah, I'm worried about that game though.
It's like Titans Jags. Jags had 10 days to prepare. I'm gonna go with our good old friend Tom Brady and take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over the Miami Dolphins. They are 10-point favorites according to DraftKings. Yeah, lock it up.
Lock it up.
No, you lock it up. All right, brother. Well, now we have liftoff plane has taken off. We've enjoyed this wonderful ride because the Jets won. Hopefully they can win again on Sunday. And wish I was going to be in London for this game. I should have been in London for this game, but
you were supposed to.
COVID sucks. So
yeah.
But anyway, from until next time, we'll catch y'all next week. We won't be breaking down a next game because the Jets are on bye after this week. But we will be breaking down the Jets game against the Atlanta Falcons and previewing some stuff for the bye. We'll figure it out. But until next time, y'all, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Make sure to catch us live next Tuesday at 7 p.m. right here. However you watched us on YouTube, Twitch, on Twitter. But also, if you miss it, you catch the recording on YouTube. You also can catch it on podcast platforms, Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, whatever your mode of operation is there. But until next time, y'all, we love you, we appreciate y'all, and peace.